Hey, what's up? My name is Sarah70. Some people call me Sev, which is just my last name abbreviated, because how many Sarahs do you already know? 12 million? This is me. I'm a Navy brat, and I grew up all over the US, but Rhode Island is the place I consider home. This is Rhode Island. If you've never been, you should definitely go. It's gorgeous, and I love it, and you probably will too. This video is about my nomadic life and how I managed to travel and live abroad for most of my 20s and early 30s. I went to Italy as a tourist for a couple weeks in college, but after that, the first place I really went to live and work and just be was South Korea. That might seem fucking random, and it was. It was just the first place that I happened to get a job teaching English as a second language. That's how I ended up being able to travel extensively. I got teaching jobs, and the schools usually paid for my flights there and back, and also for my rent, which is the best perk. So, South Korea. I went there for my first teaching job in 2007 when I was 22, almost 23, and it was kind of scary at first. I was super homesick, and it really just fucked me up a little bit to be so far from home. Literally everyone I knew was on the other side of the planet, you know? But after a few weeks I adjusted and completely fell in love with Korea. That was probably one of the best years of my life. I ended up traveling around the country a lot, met a lot of different people, had a lot of new experiences, and visited North Korea, mainland China, Japan, and Thailand. I lived in Korea for a year, and then in the summer of 2008, I ended up moving to Madrid, Spain to take a class and get a teaching certificate. I actually couldn't find any pictures of Madrid. I think this was before I was really into Facebook, so I wasn't very good at keeping track of all my photos, which is kind of a bummer. Anyways, at the end of that summer, I went on a backpacking trip for a couple weeks and just went to areas nearby Madrid, so Barcelona, Paris, and Lisbon, Portugal. After that, I moved back to the US just for 4 or 5 months or something like that. It didn't last very long. In early 2009, I ended up finding a job in Hong Kong, which is somewhere that I had always wanted to go. It just seemed like the epitome of a cool, crazy Asian metropolis, and it was. I definitely was not disappointed. I ended up getting my brother a job out there as well, which was awesome. And I also got to spend a little bit more time in Thailand during that year, which is one of my favorite countries. After a little over a year in Hong Kong, I went back to South Korea for another year and ended up living in a small city about an hour south of Seoul called Pyeongtaek. I met more really good people there, got into more shenanigans. A lot of these Hong Kong and Korea pictures are of the nightlife because I was drinking a lot back then and spent a lot of money like a dumb shit. It was fun though, I don't really have regrets. One of the best parts of living and working abroad was the experiences that I shared with my students. just sharing languages and cultures and getting to know each other was awesome, and a lot of them are just truly unforgettable.
Finished? Okay, thank you. Everybody clap for Josh. Woo! Fabulous job.
After having like kind of an urban party scene, semi-materialistic kind of life in Hong Kong and Korea, I was interested in, I don't know, redeeming myself a little bit, I guess. And I looked for some volunteer work, so I ended up going to Kathmandu, Nepal, and working there for a summer as a volunteer teacher at one of the local schools, and that was the summer of 2011. Living in Kathmandu was amazing, and I loved it. I definitely want to go back and spend more time in Nepal. After I finished my volunteer teaching there, I went on to India for a couple weeks, and India is another place I feel the need to go back to. I would say that's true of most of the countries that I've been to. They're just, you know, going for a visit, even living for a year really isn't enough time. Okay, I think this video is already getting way too long though, so I'm gonna stop now. This will just be part 1, I guess, and we'll pick up part 2 next time, starting with going back to the US, and then I ended up doing volunteer work in Ecuador, and I'll just pick it up from that point. If you made it this far, thank you so much for sitting through this super long fucking self-indulgent slideshow bullshit. I appreciate it. I hope there was something enjoyable in it for you, and see you in part 2 maybe. In the meantime, take care and safe travels.